Hi y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And as always, if it looks as though I am sweating profusely, it is because I am. I had actually intended to wear something with a bit of a lower décolleté, but I'm wearing the ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation, and it's not my shade. So I wanted something that was a little bit deceptive, because y'all, I think that was the lightest one they had in store, and I understand they have 50 billion more colors online than in store, but we're moving on. And today I'm going to be doing a video that I've seen quite a lot of people do. I believe I've seen Teresa do it, I've seen Jen Loves Reviews do it, I've seen Karen Harris do it, I've seen a lot of YouTubers doing this, compiling a $1,000 Sephora like wish list dream fantasy basket. And I'm gonna admit, this was pretty therapeutic for me, going through and being like, okay, that, and putting it in my cart, but not checking out. So there definitely is that to it. So today, we're just gonna be going through my $1,000 Sephora cart, and it was really kind of disturbingly easy to come up with this total. Like, there were some things that I immediately knew that I was like, if I have $1,000, if I got $1,000 to burn, I'm gonna be buying this shiz. And then after I'd put all that in there, I was like, oh, okay, all right, well, let's see what else we can buy. And basically, the majority of this are like frivolous purchases, you know, things that I wouldn't be trying to bring into my collection right now. We got some single blushes, some single highlighters, some eyeshadow palettes I don't need, a pricey skincare thing, some random things that I would like to try. So let's just go on in here and talk about all the goodies that I'm not gonna be buying because I don't got $1,000 to burn. Okay, so we might as well just jump right in with what I immediately knew that I was going to be putting into my basket. And that is, we took our sweet little selves over to the Viseart section. Y'all know your girl loves them pricey eyeshadows. The Viseart Grand Pro 3 is one of my end-all be-all top 10, potentially top 5 favorite palette. I really like their formula. It is disgustingly expensive, but it is one formula that I feel is worth the price point. And as such, there are a collection of Viseart palettes that I would like to add into my collection that I have absolutely no need to add into said collection. So let's go through these, shall we? Firstly and foremost is the Viseart Grand Pro Volume 1. Now, I will admit, looking at this, I feel this palette does suffer from some kind of sameness in some of the lighter shades. Those swatches on the deeper skin tones, oh my goodness, it's like they literally burned something, dug their finger around in some ash, and were like, whoop, that looks good. Ashy is all get out, very cool toned. You know your girl is living for the cool tones lately. It is an all matte palette. It's just sort of a frivolous non-need that, like I said, if I had, you know, $1,000 or even $150, which is what it is, I would be very tempted to just buy it to have it because I know I absolutely love the formula. And in conjunction, if I were to bring it into my collection, there would be some other mainstream brand neutrals and other things that I know I could declutter in favor of having that. Then we have the Viseart Rose Edit palette. I mean, all of these beautiful little 3-row edit palettes are absolutely stunning. I know that they're pretty small for what you get. I think they're a $39 price point, which for Viseart, you're like, yeah, hey, it's affordable. But if you look at the size, I mean, at $39 ain't cheap. But the cute, sweet little curated color theories in these, I love after saying, I'm like, I want the big old shebang bang 20, 30, whatever. And then being all like, but I love really nice and curated little palettes. I do. I also just love really ginormous, big all matte palettes. The Viseart Aperol Spritz palette. I don't know, we got two that are kind of like orangey and like blood orange and that sort of sunset vibes. Then they had like a pinky one, then the one that I really want, the one that's probably, of all the things that I hypothetically put into this cart that I'm not buying, one of the things that I'd want to buy the most is this, which is the Viseart Dark Edit palette. Y'all know your girl likes something nice, deep, and vampy. I have the Dark Matte palette by them, which probably means that I don't need this palette, but it's a fantasy basket. Let me dream. But that one, I love the matte to shimmer ratio. You got 2 rows of mattes, 1 row of shimmers. The colors are decadent and vibrant and gorgeous. Like these palettes, sometimes when I get a palette, I like envision 1, maybe 2 looks. Then for all of these Viseart palettes, it was like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Although when in reality, I could probably do all that shiz with what I already own. But like I said, this is a fantasy thing. I think that's it for the Viseart. Oh, also the Viseart Warm Edit palette. Now I know some of these are limited edition, some of them are permanent, some of them have been limited edition and around for a really long time, because I think I anti-hauled a couple of these just because, as pretty as they weren't something that I needed, that were necessary, or anything that was going to give me anything too new in my collection. Then obviously we have to discuss blush and highlighter. Now, in conjunction with the blush and highlighter, I only included 2. You know, usually if I was going in on this and being really obnoxious, I'd be like, all right, add all the shades to my cart. But I was being a sensical fantasy shopper. And that is the Charlotte Tilbury Chic to Chic, like cheek pop blush. This is a blush that I have seen in declutters, in collections, in hauls. So many people love these. So many people hype up that Charlotte Tilbury, just her products in general, like her brand on a whole. And so there always is that kind of like, well, what could I get into? What could I buy? Her brand doesn't necessarily really do it for me, eyeshadow-wise in color theory, but her blushes look so stinking pretty. You got this nice little darker and then the light section and the whatever. It is just a very intriguing formula. And it's just sort of something that I would like to try because a lot of other people talk about it. Y'all know your girl is a slut for trying new highlighter and new blush formulas that I don't need. Then we might as well carry on with the Charlotte Tilbury train. Her FIlmstar Bronze and highlight duo. That like super old, tale as old as time, OG contour bronzer and then subtle highlighting duo. Now, do I bronze? Do I contour? No. Do I highlight? Yes. Do I highlight in a typically faint, effervescent, subtle way? Not normally, no. But this is, again, one of those products that if I had money to burn, would I like to try it just for the shiz of it because everybody else talks about it? Yes, I would. I mean, it's like, I think it's like a 58 or 50, it's over $50. So it is indeed a pricey product. But like I said, it's just one of those things that I'm like, it's a cult favorite. A lot of people love it. I would like to kind of tap into that Pandora's box and see if, you know, it is all that in a bag of chips for me. Which in all honesty, it's a good thing it's in this fantasy cart because I feel like if I actually were to buy it, because I don't bronze, because I don't contour, because I like a more cha-cha-cha-cha highlighter, this is something I would spend my money on and then it would sit there in my drawer looking all kinds of sad because I wouldn't use it. So it's It's probably good that we're shopping for it hypothetically instead of actually. Then something that is really new to the Sephora site, at least new as of filming this. Patrick Ta, you know your girl loves his monochromatic blushes. You know your girl loves those cute little lip whatevers. And we're not even delving into the blushes yet. This is the Major Glow Dewy Mini Mist? Milk. I can't spell worth a darn. My handwriting is awful. My mother will tell you that. Y'all know your girl loves a setting mist. Y'all know your girl likes trying the setting mist that she don't need, likes buying setting mist that she's never gonna run through. I shiz you not when I say I have a fold over filled with setting mists that I have on backup and setting mists and facial sprays that I just haven't opened. So the last thing I need to actually be spending my money on is another facial spray. But if we were living in the realm of unlimited money, this is definitely one that I would want to pick up because so far I've been impressed with everything I've tried from Mr. Ta. And your girl is always on the lookout, even though she has the one she loves, a new setting mist, a new facial spray, a new something to enhance the complexion. So who knows? Maybe this would have been a fantastic holy grail, but it ain't going to be happening this year. And probably not next year either, because I honestly have enough setting facial sprays to last me until I die. Then we might as well talk about the obvious elephant in the room. The Patrick Ta Double Take Cream and Powder Blushes. Now, I cannot tell you how many of y'all tagged me in this shiz, and they were like, I hate to be devil's advocate, but you said if he ever extended his whatever line, here it is. I just got so many notifications from y'all being like, did you see this? Are you gonna buy this? Oh my goodness, look, it's more. And had they been powder blushes instead of a powder and a cream duo, I probably would have been a bit more tempted to bite that bullet, but y'all know my whole whatever on cream and cream products and cream and powder, although apparently there's a cute little flippy flap to keep cream from getting contaminated by the powder. That's a level of ingenuity that I appreciate, but kind of why it's in this fantasy basket rather than my real basket. I don't actually need any new blush. Y'all know I have the creams that I use, my Natasha Denona palettes, and that's pretty sure the only cream I have in my collection now. I got some liquid highlighters and shiz, but I don't got cream compacts. But, you know, would frivolous Soraya like to spend her money? Even if I could make the justification of even if I just like the powder one, then it's worth it, isn't it? I mean, yes, if I'm hypothetically spending $1,000, but not in real life. We might as well get just sort of a random, this is just kind of if I had money to just fritter away. But the Jouer powder highlights, I love this formula. I do not talk about it as much as I should. One of my favorite all-time summer highlights when I've got a little bit of color, but not quite like this, is the citrine. The formula on these highlighters is just so smooth, buttery, delicious, decadent, looking like your skin, but foiled to the heavens. Like it's more than a glaze, it's more than a glow. It is the epitome of cha-cha-cha-cha that literally melts into the gloriousness of your skin. And I would love to have more than what I do. They're $24, which for a high-end highlighter actually isn't that bad considering the fact that McGrath Cosmetics is $39. I believe Natasha Denona is $38. Becca's $38. So $24 for a high-end highlighter ain't that bad, but y'all know I got plenty. I don't need to be all up in here buying no more highlighter, which is why it's here and not over there. Another completely frivolous would want are the Jouer Blush Bouquet Duo Blush Palettes. Those really pretty, aesthetically pleasing blush duos that everybody loves, everybody raves about. Everybody says if you are a blush person, you need to try and or have this shiz. I'm a blush person. Y'all know I got a crap ton of it. These are kind of they're like, I guess they would go in with palettes. There's only 2 of them. Y'all know I have way too many face palettes. So I feel like there are just a couple of different things where, like, you know, in, like I keep saying, Fantasyland, yeah, sure, we could blow, I think 30 something, 34, 36, you know, on them, which for 2 pretty big full pan sizes of blush, that's not bad. But, you know, like I said, we're living in fantasy world right now, not reality, non-financially, just whatever. But they have been something that's been like really tempting me that I'm like, I would like to try that. The world speaks highly of this shiz. I want it. Next, we're talking about one big giant skincare item. Now, skincare is typically something that for the most part doesn't live too much in my fantasy realm because I am willing to spend a bit more of the extra buck when it comes to my face, even though my face has been betraying me recently and I'm not sure what its problem is. But one thing that I have talked about in the past, I actually received it from Octoly, and that is the Amore Pacific Moisture Bound Refreshing Hydrogel Oil-Free Moisturizer. Yo, this shiz is $100. That is beyond Tatcha prices, which you have heard me whine and complain and moan and whatever about in the past. Now, since I have come to the conclusion that I do like the Tatcha, the dewy cream, the water cream, I've found other things that work just as well, if not better, but that dewy cream is a really nice formula. Now, this moisturizer, I used it, you know, and I was like, yeah, sure, it's great, it's whatever. And then I discontinued use of it, and then my skin decided it was going to throw a hissy fit. Started getting my dry patches again, my texture wasn't as nice, my fine lines weren't as nice. Basically, overall, not only did this product hydrate like nobody's business, it was also one of the only moisturizing products that I've found that actually actively targets and does something for the visible signs of aging. And while I've thought about purchasing this, I have other things in my collection that I've currently got that I'm like, you cannot be spending $100 on a friggin' moisturizer when you have moisturizers in your I got a drawer full of like skincare that's just waiting for me to get used, because like I keep saying, I keep using up something before I go into something new, so I'm not gonna spend $100 on a moisturizer that's gonna sit there until I get through everything else. But if I had like money to burn, I'd be like, I'm gonna buy this and then I'm gonna give someone this product so that I can use this one because it was so good. Then another very large purchase, which I feel like the majority of this, when you think about this, you think of those big ticket items that you just normally wouldn't do. You'd feel kind of about. But we had to include something, although I'm a little bit to include this because they are not cruelty free, but I don't know, I wanted to include it. 2 products from Pat McGrath, one of which being the Sublime Skin Highlighting Trio, which I wanted and anti-hauled when it first came out. It is just this absolutely beautiful, glossy, ethereal, vaguely threatening sort of highlighting trio. And then we did put down the Pat McGrath Mothership II palette, which I do find that Pat McGrath palettes are a little less tempting for me than say a lot of the Viseart ones, because I feel like there's a certain amount of sameness to her color story. She'll like kind of have a very similar color story and then be like, well, here's this one really shocking shimmer shade, as well as her palettes being majority shimmers. Now, apparently her shimmers are the bomb diggity shiznit, but like, $125? I mean, then you only get like, yeah, I think they're a fairly large amount, but you don't get a lot of shadow. On like $125, I'll just slap 25 more on that and get me the Viseart. But if we are living in the realm of just spending whatever willy-nilly, would I like to try one just to see? It's like biting that Natasha Denona bullet. You hear so much about it. You hear people rave. You hear people just talk and talk so highly of this stuff that at some point curiosity gets the better of you. And so, you know, whether or not, you know, I, ended up liking it, it's just this thing where you're just like, I want to try it. I want to see it. I want to know what this thing that everyone is talking about is actually about, you know. Is it as fantastic? Does it warrant that high price tag? Because I've tried Natasha Denona. I don't think she warrants the price tag. I've tried Viseart. You know I love them. But for the most part, when it's come to eyeshadow, I have found that price point does not denote quality. But like I said, if we're just, you know, doing things just off the whatever, yeah, I want to try it. I want to be one of the cool kids. Then another blush that's just, you know, just a blush formula that I want to try. The Laura Mercier Blush Color Infusion. Now, when these were released, I did look at them and I was like, those are kind of pretty. They're a nice, sleek, great componentry. The colors are straightforward. We've got no BS. It's just a good, solid blush aesthetic. But they're $30-something. Laura Mercier is not a cheap brand. I've got her setting powder and I think like one highlighter. That like baked highlighter whatever thing. But would I like to dip my toes into some of these pretty looking blushes? Why yes I would. In real life, am I doing it? No, I'm not, because they're over $30 and the last thing I need in my life is another blush. But for today, we are hypothetically shopping. And that is the end of my $1,000 fantasy hypothetical dream Sephora basket. It's kind of sad, but I could honestly probably like fill up, like I could probably do a video talking about like $5,000 worth of makeup that I wouldn't mind having in my Sephora cart. Y'all know your girl has a little bit of a shopping problem, so when it comes to hypothetical shopping, I can imagine quite a lot. It's been really fun looking at these videos, kind of seeing, you know, what kind of products people are interested in and just kind of all that shebang bang going on in there. I would love to hear about some things that would be in your fantasy basket, and let me know what I talked about today. If you think they're good, they're bad, like if there's something that they're like, hey, come 2021, you should get this. If you're like, no, don't buy that. Don't do it. I would love to hear about that down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. And as always, keep it real. Mwah!